This simple financial principle will help you save up more money, build up more wealth, and save money, avoid expenses. I've got this money saving hack, that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, financially, you might have your own sort of specific financial goals, maybe to retire someday, help kids with college, get into a certain house, pay off debt. We've all got a variety of financial goals, but overall, we're trying to build up wealth, right? And avoid debt or limit our expenses. And so what are some tools to help you do that? Well, there's one financial principle that is very simple, easy to apply. It's not an absolute, but I have reminded myself of this principle, just said it sort of in my head to myself at different inflection points in my life. And it is, in my opinions, helped me save up more money and help me avoid or limit expenses. What is that one principle? Always automate your savings, never automate your expenses. That's right. Always automate your savings, never automate your expenses. Now, you're probably listening to that saying, well, here's an exception. Here's where that can't work. That doesn't work in today's world. But just listen to me. I know you might not be able to follow it in today's society, in today's world. Absolutely. But whenever possible, if you automate your savings and not automate your expenses, you will be further ahead. It will help you build up more wealth, avoid expenses. Let's get into how you apply this. All right, so always automate your savings. I can think of 10 reasons right now where I would love to just log into my 401k and reduce my contribution amount just a little bit because, well, we're getting closer to the fall season, and so I've got property taxes due. We've got, I've been seeing some doctors, so I've got some medical bills coming up. We've got Christmas, of course, coming up. We've got a vacation. Don't tell the kids, haven't told them yet. Surprise vacation between Christmas and New Year's. I can think of all sorts of financial reasons coming up on the horizon where it would be a little bit easier if I went in and reduced my 401k contribution from 15% down to 12 or down to 10. I can think of a ton of reasons, but because I have it automatically set up, I just, listen, that's how much I'm going to save, and I'll find a way to live on what's left. Always automate your savings because that little nudge, that little posturing helps you avoid tinkering or making changes to how much you're saving. You just set it up and try to forget it. Try to manage within it, okay? So always automating your savings means that you make one great decision, okay? And then you have to live within the rest, as opposed to deciding every single paycheck, well, how much can I save right now? Maybe it's possible you find a time period where you could say, you know what, I'm saving 15%. I could actually save 16% this paycheck. I think that's rare. I think most of us would find reasons or think of all the reasons why we should reduce how much we're saving. Therefore, save as much as you possibly can and set it up automatically so it happens on autopilot without you having to think through, well, can I afford to save that much this quarter, this month, this paycheck, whatever, or do I need to reduce it? Set it up automatically from the get-go. 3 places I would apply this. Number 1, I already mentioned it, your 401k or whatever your workplace retirement plan is. Set that contribution amount as at the right level, as much as you possibly can, or the right amount that fits within your overall financial plan, ideally 15% if you don't have that dialed in just yet. Set that up automatically and then don't deviate from it. I know some folks who, every month or every couple of months, they'll go in and they'll tweak how much they're contributing to their 401k. Don't do it. And that's part of the power of automating all of your savings is you're not, likely you shouldn't and you won't go in and tinker with that amount. But apply that in your 401k. Apply that to your Roth IRA, your HSA, maybe your 529 plan, whatever those secondary savings are for your long-term goals, be it retirement retirement, be it health expenses, be it college for kids. Apply the same thing. I have all of those funded for me automatically on the 15th of every month. No, my Roth IRA I fund on the 1st, my 529 and my HSA I fund on the 15th. Okay, so set it up automatically so you make that one good decision once and you don't have to remake that decision every single month. Well, can I afford to save this much in my Roth this month? I don't know, it's kind of tight. We've got this expense coming up. Maybe we should hold off. No. Automate that savings, okay? And then finally, the third place I'd apply that is automate that for your delayed spending. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, you got to listen to some of our videos on the 3 bank account system. But the delayed spending account, your second account, that's where you're saving money up for known upcoming expenses. That's right. So things like car repairs, that could happen. Car replacement, more importantly, home improvements, maybe Christmas expenses, vacation, those sorts of things, where you're setting money aside for known upcoming expenses or money that you know you're going to spend, next quarter, next year, a couple of years from now. Automate those savings as well. Calculate how much you need, calculate how much time between today and when you're going to have that expense, and then set that up so that you're saving that amount every single month, or the way I have it set up, every single paycheck. So always automate your savings. Does it work in an absolute way? No. You might get a bonus. You might get a gift from some family members. You might get a surprise tax refund. And then, of course, you're going to have to make a manual decision. Okay, where should we save those dollars? What should we do with these? But if you want to have your overall financial life oriented towards saving and accumulating wealth, figure out how much you should be saving in any of those categories and set that decision up front. Don't set it up so that you've got to make that decision every paycheck or every month or whatever. Always automate your savings. And never automate your expenses. And I know in today's world you're going to say that it's not possible, and it might not be. But by principle, live that principle out as frequently as you can. Any opportunity that you have to not automate an expense, don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Because it's the exact same reason. You don't want to automate all of your expenses or as much as possible. Even though that might feel easy, you have less control. And pretty soon, you'll be spending money on things that you really don't need or no longer need, okay? When you make that decision up front to save as much money as possible, it's unlikely you're going to change it. So same principle works here. If you make that decision up front to automate this expense, it's unlikely you're going to change it, even though you may need to or should adapt that expense. You might not, okay? I heard this story a long time ago. It didn't happen to me. It was a story shared with me, but individual said that he was going through his bank account when a CFP encouraged him to do his budget. He's going through his bank account, looking at his bank transactions, and saw that $50 was coming out of his bank account going to some company, okay? So he called him up. It was his kid's karate or jujitsu instructor or class. His child was now a young adult. He hasn't taken jujitsu in 3 years, and they were still paying that monthly kind of expense to participate or be a member at that location. Never automate your expenses. That seems crazy. Oh my God, I would never let that happen. If you automate your expenses, that could very well happen to any one of us. Now, there are obvious exceptions to never automating your expenses. There are certain expenses that you just have to automate, and you should consider it. But out of principle, do as few as possible. Which are those exceptions? Well, so many services are by subscription these days. So they won't even let you sign up for it unless you sign up to automatically have your debit or credit card pinged every month or whatever. Okay, so Netflix is one of those. Maybe Amazon Prime, something like that. So some of these, it's unavoidable. If you want that service, you've got to sign up where it's automatically. And so, yes, this will be an exception to those. The point is, do as few of those as possible and make sure you have awareness on them, just like this jiu-jitsu class. Make sure you have awareness so you don't forget. Okay, so that's one exception. Second exception is if you are helping your parents who are getting up there in age manage their financial expenses, or if you've ever had to do that in the past, that setting things up on auto payment can be a huge advantage because they're likely to forget or miss a bill, okay? So during those circumstances, if it's something that you're likely to forget or miss or something like that, you may want to set that on automatic payment as well. And then finally, non-discretionary expenses. Those are the third exception where, all right, you might want to automate that. So maybe a mortgage or maybe an electric bill, something like that. I still prefer to pay those manually because I want to see how much it's costing and I want to have control over the mortgage payment. I want to see how much the electric bill is and the gas bill is. But if it would be easier for you to manage your finances for those non-discretionary, it's not like you can say, well, we're going to cut the electric. You know, this price is getting outrageous. If you want to set that up automatic, that's fine too. But as a principle, never automate your expenses, and I would apply that to mean automate as few expenses as possible so you have control over them. So can you pull this off in absolutes? No, you can't. There will be exceptions, but if you orient your financial life to always automate your savings and never automate your expenses or automate as few expenses as possible, that will help you accumulate more wealth, build up more wealth, and avoid or reduce your expenses, helping you have greater financial balance and financial success over the long term. That's the job of your CFPs. They're going to give you this hack as well as others. Work with your CFP on applying this. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.